podcast is part of the Sports Social Podcast Network.
You're listening to Achtung Millwall, broadcasting from the beautiful South Birmingham. Accept no substitute.
Hello, dear listeners. Welcome to Achtung Millwall in the wake of yesterday's magnificent 2-0 result at the Racecourse Ground in Wrexham, FC Hollywood, as they call it. A very, very hard-fought win for the Lions. Joining me to chew over the cud is a new podcaster on the scene. You've heard his voice before, but he's a new man on the scene. It's Jay Thomas, now of the 1885 podcast. Jay, huge welcome to the show, mate.
Thank you very much for having me once again, Nick, under a different title. Yeah, really looking forward to it, to dive into what a fantastic result we had yesterday.
Magnificent. We'll come back to the podcast stuff later. Obviously, we've got some urgent business of the football to deal with.
Absolutely.
I was just looking at the BBC website, Jay, and we were talking off air, listeners. Hard fought is the way the BBC described that victory at Wrexham. It was hard fought. It was a tough game in tough conditions, Jay, against a decent side, physical side, and we matched them. And I think that's a real tribute to this Alex Neil squad, don't you think?
Oh, absolutely. We were talking off air, as you said, that, you know, games of the past where we put in performances like that with our backs against the wall, we probably lose that 2-3-0. They played a very high line, Wrexham. The clear game plan from them was get it out to Kabore, get Kiefer Moore really uptight to Jake Cooper and Caleb Taylor, and just flood our box. And they did that all game, but Jake Cooper, Caleb Taylor, absolutely colossal performance from them. We rode our luck, but it's a game of chances, something we've lacked in the past, but something that we took yesterday. So, yeah, very, very pleasing to come away from that in what was really regarded as a six-pointer, 5th versus 6th. We've established a bit of a gap now.
Yeah, absolutely. I couldn't make it there, listeners. Big hats off to I think I read 1,200, Jay, that made it to Wrexham yesterday. Massive effort to get there. I couldn't get down there yesterday. I had stuff to do, and just getting there and getting home was half the battle. We've all seen the pub videos, so it was a long-winded journey home, if on paper, let alone in reality. So well done, everyone that went down there yesterday. It came over loud and clear on TV. Jay, I couldn't help but think of the Oxford game, which is a three-sided stadium, where we threw it away at the end. But this squad, they got steel going down their middle now, haven't they? Open end, wind whipping round North Wales, bleak, and yet we've gone there and we've come away with 3 points. I think there's the journey that this squad is undertaking under Alex Neil. It's magnificent to watch. Some players are really developing well there.
Oh, absolutely. And we talk about some of those players. I mean, Barry Bannon made his first start yesterday. I think we're still learning on how to play with Barry Bannon. He kept finding himself in some really good pockets of space where we probably should have played him in and we didn't. He made some really outstanding passes yesterday, showing his quality. And someone like Camille Negley, who's really took a lot of stick for, the price tag we paid for him and some of the performances he's put in. I think over the last 2 months, ever since he had to go and sit deep and play central midfield with the injuries we had there, he's been revolutionised as a player. His energy, his work rate, his tracking back, his physicality. I thought he was unbelievable yesterday. Everyone, man to a man, put in a shift that warranted a result yesterday. It's not ever going to be pretty. It's not always going to be pretty being a Millwall fan or a Millwall player. But if you can go to places like that and grind out them results, considering the exact type of conditions and the exact type of scenario we played at Oxford earlier in the season, we managed to be on the better end of that result. And that is a testament not only to the players, but to Alex Neil and his staff, because everyone seems to be really entwined and in tuned in that DNA of what we're trying to prove here. No one seems to be stepping outside of the apple cart. We all know the job. We all know the task. And everyone's pulling in the right direction.
I mean, you mentioned Barry Bannon rightly. I mean, I've noted here. I mean, given the conditions, listeners, it was windy and hard and rainy, and it's beautiful country in North Wales, but it's hard as well, And they were coming at us, but there was a beautiful ball. I've noted after 8 minutes, Jay. I've written it on my note here. Beautiful ball from Bannon I think he fed Negley, who put a cross in, and Aziz was just short of the mark there, just couldn't connect. But he does bring the balance. You need grind, you need steel, you need Jake Cooper's willingness to go head to head with the likes of Kiefer Moore, the physicality, as they call it. You do need that bit of artistry, and Bannon does bring something a little bit higher than what we've been used to. That was a beautiful touch, and it's not something that we've had much of. I mean, Aziz, I suppose, is the nearest we've got to a truly inventive player, but he does bring something, doesn't he, Bannon?
Oh, absolutely, yeah. And even in the second half, he played a defensively ball splitting pass through to Ivanovic, who just couldn't quite get it out of his feet. I was surprised he started yesterday. I thought Bannon is the type of player that we would probably play in games like next week against Wednesday, where we could probably afford to sacrifice a bit more legs and tenacity in the middle to go more creative, games that we really want to put teams under, that we should be winning. I was shocked that it started yesterday. I did think that we'd try and be a bit more robust, a bit more set up, a bit more tight in the middle. But we went for it, and I thought Bannon was really justified in his start. I thought we played well. It is going to take some time for us to get used to him. As you said, his quality. He finds them pockets of space. He likes to pick a pass that sometimes we wasn't seeing the pass. He was seeing it before our players were, and we just weren't picking up on that. That's a training ground thing that will come. But yeah, I thought he put in a really good shift yesterday. I thought Watson, when he came on, he ran, got himself in some good positions, especially with the second goal for Coburn. Watson found himself side by side, got himself some space in the box that if the keeper parried it away or Coburn wanted to, he could have squared it and Watson would have scored. It was a really good performance all round. Probably one that did show the fans and probably showed Alex Neil really what we're made of, because we've been in games where we have won the game and we've played pretty well overall, or where we've played well and not got the result. Yesterday was different. We didn't really play that well. We had to grind it out. We kept a clean sheet. We scored 2 goals.
No, magnificent. I mean, another player, we've mentioned Barry Bannon, we've mentioned Camille Negley, but I want to talk about Max Crocombe, because there was a series of chances for Wrexham that on another day, another goalkeeper, even arguably, one of those goes in, you got a very different game on your hands. But he made some pretty crucial blocks across the game, but especially in that first half, Jay, where we were not on the back foot a little bit, but it was the wind was against us and we were having to absorb a lot, and he kept us in it at times, didn't he?
He's done it all season, though, Nick, hasn't he, really? And I put a tweet out on our pod account that Max Crocombe's probably been one of the most underrated best signings of the Gallen era. You take a goalkeeper that on a free agent playing in League Two and put him in what is now a starting position, has been for a few months. He's a massive reason we're in the position we're in. He's popped up with big saves. Bristol City away, he was massive. You know, some games he's produced some really, really top quality goalkeeping, and the defence feels comfortable with Max in goal. You can see Cooper and Taylor, they know what Max is going to be like. They know if he's going to come, if he's going to go short. Bit of talk about his distributions, not all there, but now he's got a guy coming in behind him in Patterson.
Yeah,
which he hasn't had. You know, he's had Evans and Bender resides to the number 2.
Not real competition there, Jay. I think Patterson brings competition for his place, doesn't he?
Absolutely. Iron sharpens iron. And if Patterson thinks he's going to come and be the number 1, Max has shown him he's got another thing coming. And fair play to Max. You know, look, Max is a veteran goalkeeper. He's in his mid-30s, which is kind of a prime for a goalkeeper. He's got a World Cup coming up. He's playing really well at the moment. We're playing well with him. It's going to be tough for Patterson to come in and take that shirt away from him, because he was a big reason we won that game yesterday.
Absolutely. On the same note, I want to mention Jake Cooper is getting a lot of praise online, rightly so, because I thought he had a traditional threat. Kiefer Moore has been a bit of a thorn in our side over the years, isn't he? And he's a tough, hard player, Kiefer Moore, and you know what you're going to get with him. And Jake had to go head-to-head with him yesterday, and it was a real physical battle. The blood was drawn, let's put it that way, listeners. If you didn't see the fixture, blood was drawn, challenge upon challenge. I think he caught his nose, Jake caught Moore's nose in the first half and got him again in the second half, Jay. I mean, that's what's required. This is the nature of the beast, isn't it? This is hard-edged championship football with everything on the table at stake.
Yeah, no one's better than Jake Cooper. I mean, I'll put this out again, going back to tweets. You look at the last decade of central defenders to come through this club, including ones on low. You look at Ballard, Creswell, Tanganga, Sean Hutchinson, and others, and now Caleb Taylor. there's only been one common denominator to all these defenders looking unbelievable, and it's been Jake Cooper. He's been a prominent figure at that back. He plays every single game. He's reliable. He's available, and his sheer quality shines through week in, week out. He is, in my opinion, one of the greatest Millwall players of all time. You look at his appearances, you look at his goal output. He's second all time in the Championship for defenders scoring goals. He leads Millwall all time for defensive goals scored, and he's going to reach into the top 5 of appearances all time. What more could you want from a Millwall player? And people have questioned his captaincy, Nick, a hell of a lot. I think the way he talks off the field when he gives his interviews, I think the way he conducts himself, he handles the media, the way he just handles himself in his personal life, his fitness, his whole routine is to be awed for, because I think he's incredible. And yesterday was a really colossal performance from him. And Caleb Taylor's benefiting from that, because Caleb Taylor looks unbelievable as well. And Jake Cooper is the common denominator in all of this.
I agree. I think we take some players for granted, Jay. And it always fascinates me how some players are loved immediately, often on fairly spurious grounds, and who knows why. But Jake seems to have been slightly put into a what's the word? It's like he's almost stereotyped as the big lumbering central defender. You're right. There are layers to his game. We've seen it many times over the years, and we're really seeing it now, because this story isn't over yet. There's still a story to be told. We don't know how this season's going to finish. It has every ingredient. Nothing's for certain, listeners, but this has a momentous quality to it this season. And as you just said, that sentence there, Jay, one of the great Millwall players. I agree, because I don't know what more you got to do other than maybe achieve promotion. That's not off the table. So yeah, and appearance-wise, he's in the top 5, and he does bring a certain leadership to the squad. So, no, hats off to Jake Cooper, and he certainly dealt with Kiefer Moore yesterday, Jay, didn't he?
Oh, he was unbelievable. And let's have it right. Look, let's give credit to Kiefer Moore. He's a handful. He's awful. We'd absolutely love to have him down Millwall. He is a pain in the backside, and he probably should have scored yesterday if Crocombe came out and decided he wasn't going to come out, and if Kiefer Moore just directs it, he probably scores. But yeah, not just Jake Cooper, but Caleb Taylor as well. That they both was around Kiefer Moore. They understood the assignment. Let's put it that way, because I imagine Kiefer Moore and his physicality was probably a big part of the game plan. And in terrible conditions in the part of Wales that we was in, Cooper and Taylor definitely rose to the occasion, and I'm sure. Both of them had. I think Caleb had the bottom half, and Cooper had the top half of Kiefer Moore when they emptied their pockets, because I thought they was both that good.
But fair play to Kiefer Moore. You're right. We would love him, and the reason I think we would love him is that if anyone hasn't seen the footage, he came off the worst from a challenge with Jake Cooper. He's got blood streaming from his nose there, Jay. He's got bumped again in the second half on the schnozzle again. Events have taken their course. Yeah. No complaints, no rolling around on the floor, no moaning to the referee. It's handshake, men on the field of play, and we would love that, wouldn't we? And that's Millwall quality of behaviour, in my opinion. So hats off to Kiefer Moore, because there's many a player out there that would have tried to made more of that and taken advantage of it. But yeah, great stuff to witness. Second half again, Crocombe. We've mentioned already. I've got a few early saves. There was a power shot from distance. I've got here a bit of ping pong in our penalty area, and then that through ball. When I thought we were going to concede, there was a through ball, and Crocombe came out extremely bravely. You've got to be slightly mad to be a goalkeeper, Jay, and I think you showed why that cliche exists. We dodged the bullet there, but. It's strange. I was just writing down on my notes just before we scored the goal from a Femi Aziz cross. I was just writing down my notes here, Jay. Femi Aziz doesn't seem quite as on it as maybe we've come to expect. And just as I finished writing it on my iPad, he put a beautiful cross in. It was bundled over for the own goal, 1-0, 58 minutes. So maybe I should, refrain from football going in future.
Or keep doing it because he's going to produce after. So
it shows you what I know, doesn't it? I wonder whether there's a lot of deadline day who knows whether it's true or not. Interest, you don't. Most of what you read on the internet is stuff and nonsense. So I wonder whether that might have been on his mind. There was an alleged £20 million bid from Bournemouth. Who knows whether that was real or not? Which you've probably seen the same stuff that I've seen, Jay. But I wonder whether he'd be on it. And lo and behold, yes, he was on it. In a very difficult day, and that was a beautiful crossing from the right side, wasn't it? Great, most welcome when it came.
Yeah, and we've come to expect this from Femi Aziz, and I think that when he has a very slightly off day, because he's set the bar so high, we see it as he's off the pace. But Femi is brilliant. He was keeping their fullback true all game. It was dangerous cross after dangerous cross. It was cutting in, cutting out. Femi's brilliant, and if there is some kind of hangover from the transfer window or some kind of disappointment in his mind, I don't trust anybody more than Alex Neil to be able to set the record straight with him, because I think Neil will sort that out. And I trust that part of the process. And yesterday, like you say, he was responsible for both goals. It was an unbelievable cross, and it goes in regardless, because if the defender don't get it, Ivanovic just taps it in anyway.
Yeah, he's lurking.
He's in the right place. And the second one, it's kind of, it fooled the defender, because the defender's trying to play the 50-50 of half defend Coburn, half defend Casper Denore. Yeah. Ball comes in after a great ball by Negley, by the way, to win the ball and lay off Cranmer, who starts injured. And he's just tapped it into an area, and the defender's sort of gone half, fell through to Coburn. It turned out to be a fantastic ball. And what a finish from Josh Coburn, by the way.
Wasn't it?
3 in 4 games, should probably have 4, because if the Charlton defender doesn't put it in, Josh probably scores himself. But yeah, Femi, even with an off day, he set the bar so high. We expect too much, but he was brilliant yesterday.
I noticed on the BBC website, listeners, that Femi's credited with 1 assist on there. I thought he should be credited with the assist for the own goal, because I don't know how else that would have happened if he hadn't put that wicked cross in there.
I agree.
But beautiful, beautiful finish. I read online, it might have been Tony Monday, who said that when Coburn tries to side foot them in with delicacy, it don't always work out, Jay, but when he puts his foot through it, the boy is a powerful machine, and I really love that goal. That was I've watched that a good few times now, so they hang it on in the Louvre moment, isn't it? I don't know how many times I've watched that goal. Thing of beauty, and a beautiful pass forward from Aziz on that first time pass into space. Wonderful stuff. And that was game, set and match there at that point.
Yeah, it was. And Coburn offers us something different. It's kind of a weird situation, because you'd expect Coburn to be more the guy that holds the ball up and lets runners run beyond him, and Ivanovic be the runner because of their size difference. But it's actually Coburn that I feel is probably the better, that hits the channels, runs in behind the defenders, and you can play them splitting balls through to Coburn. We saw it at Norwich, we saw it at Charlton, we saw it at Burnley with his goal there, and we saw it yesterday as well. And yeah, he's put his foot through. He's caught it beautifully. It's a fantastic finish. And when you look at Ivanovic and Coburn right now, and since Coburn's been back, they've between them got 5 goals in their last 6. They're hitting form at the right time when we need them to. I thought Ivanovic played very, very well yesterday, even without his goal. It's promising, the performances and the individual performances, should I say, and the output we're now getting from our wingers, our defenders, and our strikers right at the business end of the season. And Neil's got some great problems to have. I wouldn't want to be Alex Neil right now if you're playing a 4-2-3-1. You've got Ivanovic and Coburn to choose from. But it was really, really good from Josh Coburn. I thought he was excellent when he came on.
Someone made a point online about how, we've obviously Alex Neil has managed his way through the injury crisis that's bedeviled us for the fair chunk of the season. But you're right, he's now getting a bit of an embarrassment of riches now, isn't he? As players are coming back into full fitness, and some of the jewels he's got at his disposal now. It's going to be a very interesting last 15 games. That win yesterday leaves us decisively in 5th place, 6 points clear of the 7th spot. So we're 6 points into the playoff zone, and just 5 points behind Middlesbrough in 2nd. I was reading Sam Parkin's column on the BBC, Jay, and he's talking about the top 2 being a stretch, but not out of the question. Long way to go. I don't think it's out of the question, personally. Do you?
Well, if you look at the next fixtures coming up, you got Ipswich, Hull, Wrexham, they're all playing in the FA Cup, right? So
yeah.
they're not going to be playing next week. Middlesbrough have got to go away to Coventry on the Monday night. Come the end of next week, we could very much find ourselves in the top 2 if results go in our favour. If we just win our games, that could be the case, because Coventry or Middlesbrough are going to drop. They play against each other. So I don't want to say the P word yet. I really, really don't. But it is like a fairy tale. When you look at all the things this season that have gone into it, winning at Norwich for the first time since the 70s, the winning these games that we're playing quite poorly, and the injury problems, and it just has it set up for, and I don't want to use the D word, but a documentary going forward of all the problems we've had to navigate. Alex Neil coming in, the injuries. It's been a remarkable season to this point. This club is trending in the right direction. That's
Absolutely.
credit to JB and the board, the staff, Gallen, the players. We're in a really, really good place. And if it doesn't happen this year, it doesn't happen this year. But we could be really optimistic about the direction this football club is heading in, especially in today's day and age, where clubs at this level are falling left, right, and centre due to poor ownership, poor management, and poor overall structure at a football club. We're in a really, really good spot. And credit to the Berylson family for making that happen. We should be really proud to be Millwall fans. We should be proud of this football club. The only way is up. And if it doesn't happen this year, let's reload and go again, because we're coming.
Well said, Joe. Second all of that. These are the days, listeners. You've got to enjoy these days. Sheffield Wednesday next Saturday. I'm going to go up to Sheffield myself. Then we've got Pompey at home the week after. Pompey, Birmingham, Preston away, and then the whole game. So there's a lot of points.
And then it gets tough, Nick. It gets tough then, Ipswich, Norwich, Middlesbrough.
Derby. Yeah. These are not going to be easy games, but we've got to take the points where we can. But who knows? Let's not tempt the football gods any further. I think we've probably gone as far as I want to go with temptation, Jay. Brilliant stuff, mate. Now then, I want to finish by talking about your new podcast. You're launching a podcast, the 1885 podcast. I'll stick a link in the show notes for this one, listeners. I want to say I've always enjoyed listening to Jay, and I enjoy reading his output online. So I want to give it my seal of approval. I haven't even heard it yet, so I better be careful. I don't know what I'm going to listen to, but I'm really interested to know. Where are you going to go with the podcast? What's your ideas for it then, Jay?
Yeah, so just like I've put a tweet out that people think, oh, not another one, but I just really enjoy talking Millwall, and there's so many giants in the Millwall podcast world. Yourself, Chat with Chaps, that Millwall podcast, TT, and many others that deliver such amazing Millwall content. We're not here to compete with giants. We just want to fill the gaps and continue to talk Millwall. And if people will join us for that, then fantastic. We just enjoy talking football. I've had a lot of people say, or that I'll see at away games and so on, go, oh, you're not doing podcasts anymore. You're not doing this and that. It isn't anything to do with any issues. It's just timing didn't lay out for me. That Millwall podcast gave myself and some of the others a fantastic platform for us to be able to talk about Millwall on a regular basis and to meet like-minded Millwall fans, and we'll forever be grateful for that. But time to go out by myself with the team that we've got around us. There's several of us involved. Right. It's going to be really, really good. I think we've got a lot of stuff in the pipeline. A lot of pre-match, a lot of post-match. We want to talk a lot about the Lionesses as well. We want to promote the women's game. I've reached out to some Lionesses to see if they can talk to us about their journey. A lot of player stuff, and you never know. Hopefully, Max and the club will get wind of it, and we'll be able to incorporate some media day stuff into it. But yeah, just a lot of what everyone else is doing, but just with our own little twist on it. But what I do want to say though, Nick, as well, is that yourself, Chat with Chaps, that Millwall podcast, and others, you'd think that starting another podcast would alienate some people and would think, oh God, it's another one. The response from everybody has been absolutely amazing. People reaching out to me, sending me messages and DMs, are looking forward to it and stuff like that. If you are offering their support, the Millwall family, it really is an incredible thing to be a part of, because they just want to see everybody do well, even if it's in the same field. So, yeah, I'm really, really grateful for everyone's support, and yours as well, Nick.
No, absolutely. I mean, listen, I don't think we compete I don't think any of the shows compete. I mean, there's an idea that if Jay starts a podcast, that means no one's going to listen to mine.
That's
Or
what I
not
was
so
worried.
many.
That's what I was
Well,
worried.
I don't think it works that way. I think that
No.
people listen to one show and then they'll listen to something else that
Yeah.
they like, and I think that's the
Agreed.
key point. If you like a particular, it's like anything, a drink, food. If you like a particular brand, you'll buy it. But you don't mean to say you won't ever eat anything else. You know, there's room for everyone, and I personally love the idea that there's many different viewpoints, and you know, some people won't like what I do. I do a very different style, I suppose, to others. But that's me, and if people don't want to listen to it, then they find others that they do want to listen to. That's freedom. So, no, I've got a lot of time for everyone that puts their head above the parapets. Anything I can do to help you, Jay, then you give me a shout, mate. And I know that I speak for the other boys as well. I'm sure everyone will say the same, but I certainly will do whatever I can to, give it a shout and a boost and so on. So, well done. Take my hat off to you. It's laudable stuff. So the 1885 podcast, I think that's your Twitter handle, Jay, isn't it? The 1885 podcast.
Yes, the 1885 show, one word, is a Millwall podcast. We've got our YouTube account set up now. We're very active on Instagram as well for the younger viewers out there. I'm not an Instagram buff myself, but someone in the crew is. So we've got Instagram firing up. The subscribers have started on YouTube. We've almost reached 100 followers on X. We've had over 40,000 views already on the account.
Wow.
And it's down to people like yourself, people like Chaps and That Millwall Podcast and others that have give us their blessings and their support, that have shared our stuff, our announcements, and allowed it to reach more Millwall fans. So, yeah, I appreciate your support, Nick. Appreciate everyone's. And I just hope that we can put some good content out there for everyone, and hopefully we can have the likes of yourself and the others on our show one day to give us your thoughts.
Anytime, mate. Anytime. Joe, that's fantastic, mate. Really appreciate you joining me this Sunday afternoon. Onwards to Hillsborough next week. And then who knows where we go after that. Fingers crossed for what is looking like a roller coaster ride of a season. Big thank you to you, Jay Thomas.
Thanks, Nick.
Achtung, Millwall.
Huge thank you to Jay Thomas there. And just to repeat, the X handle for Jay's new show is the 1885 show. That's on X, at the 1885 show. Wish him a hell of a lot of luck with that. Now then, listeners, it is time for the voicemails. First one following in yesterday's wonderful result down there at Wrexham. Let's have a listen to Mike George. Take it away, Mike.
I have to admit, I thought this was going to be a tough game before we went into it, and so it proved. Certainly in the first half, it was very even, and in fact, there wasn't a lot happening, to be honest. I did think that perhaps the home side might have edged it in terms of domination, but only just. And then after the break, of course, Millwall came out and... well, blow me down within 10 minutes. We've got ourselves a fortuitous own goal, let's be honest. Femi has crossed in, and one of their defenders put it into his own net, which is always nice. It's very gracious of them. And then a few minutes later, Mr. Coman steps up. Josh Coman. He's the one you'll remember that many supporters don't think is good enough for championship level, and we should have got rid of him ages ago. Well, he stepped forward onto the ball, took one look up and smashed straight into the corner. Thank you very much. 2-0 away from home at Wrexham. I don't think you can ask too much more of that. And, of course, the result gives us a 6-point gap to the chasing pack. So we're all in good shape, and we go forward to Sheffield Wednesday next week. Let's not even talk about that just yet. Let's just say, come on, you Lions.
Thank you, Mike. Yeah, tough game in tough conditions, listeners. One end of the stadium's being rebuilt. It is basically a building site, and the behind the one end of the goal. I don't know which end of the town end or the station end. I don't know which end it was, but certainly it created conditions that were wet and windy. The commentary team, Carl and Max McLennan, made the point that without that stand there, the wind would whip along, and it certainly worked against us in that first half. Mike was just talking about it. We seemed to really struggle with the driving rain and the heavy wind in our faces. But second half, yeah, I mean, fortuitous own goal. I don't think I agree with that, Mike. I think that was it was a nice move. There was a ball. I think it was Denor, I believe, memory serves, forwards, found Aziz, that whipped in a wicked cross into a very dangerous area. And yeah, I suppose a fortune, if you like, that it comes cannons off the defender on the one end. But if you put in dangerous balls into dangerous situations, played at speed and pace, then you're going to get the odd moment of luck, I suppose. But Coburn, I think I said with Jay, or Jay made the point to me earlier on, listeners, that Coburn was Ivanovic, excuse me, was lurking in the zone there. So, that was fortune. I don't know. You make your luck, as they say. The cliche of football is you make your own luck. And then the second goal was no luck involved at all. That was a beautiful bury by Josh Coburn. And as Mike said, a 2-0 win at FC Hollywood, promotion rivals, with all the glamour and glam. It's quite interesting following X, dear listeners. You don't realise how Wrexham have this North American following. They were getting all sorts of snarky comments from clearly American-based voices. But of course, they've got a global reach now, thanks to the Hollywood stars. McCallum, is it? I don't know the bloke's name. It was Spider-Man, Deadpool, whatever his name was. Rob, fuck knows. Don't know his name. Don't care. But a 2-0 win at promotion rivals I do know about, and that was a magnificent result in tough conditions yesterday. So big thank you there to Mike. Let's have a listen now to Jim Hackett.
Morning, Nick. Jim Hackett here. Just a couple of things about yesterday's game against Wrexham. Obviously, I live up close to Wrexham. I'm on the North Wales Cheshire border, and I'm midway between Chester and Wrexham. And I've worked at both clubs, so I have a little bit of not insight, but a little bit of understanding of the mentality of the club and the supporters and Wrexham supporters after they beat us earlier in the season. Obviously, as you can imagine, they give me a little bit, and it was difficult. But at the time, I thought we were the better side, and we lost to obviously a couple of freak goals. Well, the definite one freak goal from Kiefer Moore from Bender's horrendous mistake. But I've waited quite a while for this game to come up, and it's just slightly ironic that we get to play them when they're the form team of the division. And as this season's shown, every time we come against these teams that are the form teams, we have enough to turn them over, and that's how it proved yesterday. I thought the game itself, it was scrappy and it was poor on quality, I suppose, a lot of the time. But if you're the Wrexham manager, why, if you've looked at our team over the last few months, why you would put Kiefer Moore in there to think he's going to bully Taylor and Cooper astounds me, because give Cooper his due. He left something on Moore there very early, and he never really recovered. And I think our back two were fantastic. But then you go through the whole team. We looked early on. We looked a little bit not off the pace, but I thought Alfie Doughty got skinned very early, and I thought it was an accident waiting to happen. But as it is, he grew into the game and worried more about defending, I think, than he did about getting forward and attacking. And Christian, not quite the same, but he was sort of held back a little bit, I think, just to make sure that they didn't break us down and create too many chances. And then our midfield, I thought, Casper and Billy, fantastic. Barry Banham, he's got some of there. You can see in a couple of passes he made, absolute top draw. And as he goes on and as the season goes on now, I think we're going to see more and more of his through balls getting our strikers in or our wide players in. And, looking forward to seeing how that all sort of works out. Our wide players, Negley, if it wasn't for the back two playing so well, I'd have put Negley as our man of the match. I think he's getting better and better, and all the criticism he got early on, I think it's just took his time to get to the pace of the Championship, and now he's there. He looks a proper player, and I think he's the one that won't get left out anymore, because I think he's a point of difference for us. With him and Barry Banham in there is something different that teams won't be expecting from us, and especially when you think we've got Femi and whoever the striker is. I think Femi, again, I think similar to last week, he tries, but teams are wise to him now, and they'll double up and sometimes treble up on him just so he doesn't get the space to get the ball in. And when he does get the ball in, the quality isn't quite there at the moment. And You know, maybe it's the conditions, maybe it's the pitches, I don't know. But obviously he's still there, and I think he got 2 assists yesterday, so it's not so bad, is it? But overall, as a team, the one player I didn't mention there, sorry, was Max Crocombe. I thought he had a fantastic game, and there was a couple of times where it could have got through him and didn't. And I'm gonna sort of say that you know, you can't drop him on those sort of performances, but maybe Patterson coming in is the kick up the arse he needed to actually concentrate better, get the rest of his game together. Because I thought yesterday he was like a rock at the back, and then you put him alongside our back four, then you know, we very, very difficult to beat and very difficult to break down. And then we get the goals. I think the first goal, it might have been a fluke of an own goal, but you know what? It wasn't undeserved, because I thought when it did come to chances up to that point, we always looked the more threatening. I thought they huffed and puffed, and they were always going to capitalise on a mistake from us rather than have to work a goal. And so it proved we worked that goal, and the fact that Cleworth put it in the net was just a bonus. And then the second goal, how fantastic with Josh Coburn. He's took a bit of stick, obviously, for his miss the other week, but what a fantastic finish that was. And you know what, if you can get him or Mikhailo, you know, playing with that sort of confidence, then you know it can only be good going forward. And I think now, looking at that yesterday, looking at the bench, we've got a squad that some teams or all teams are going to look at. I think, well, how are we going to break them down? Because if they want to put it long, we'll win everything. If they want to keep the ball on the floor, we're going to let them have it. And then when we break, we're dangerous. So overall, yesterday, I think the conditions played their part. I was slightly surprised that Cooper went against the wind in the first half, because you could see with the kicking from Crocombe and that it wasn't getting too far on it, and it was causing us issues. But overall, I think that the second half, I thought we bossed it. But then when they brought the quicker striker on, Smith, he had a couple of good chances, didn't he, just before we scored our second. And you know, a decent striker might have got them both on target, and it could have been a totally different game. But overall, we deserved the win. I thought the way the team sort of went for each other, you could see when the second goal went in, they were all over the shop. You know, all our players went over to the supporters and were giving it large, and it was just desserts there, I think, for Wrexham. And that second goal sort of didn't quite kill the game, because they've got a terrible habit of scoring late, Wrexham, and getting back in games. But yesterday they didn't get the opportunity, and well done, Alex Neil, and all the group, even the substitutes. You can see them at the end when they're on the pitch and giving it to the supporters. You know, everybody is one big family at the moment, and long may it continue. We've got Sheffield Wednesday next week, and let's see where it goes. Because you know, if he puts our whatever his best 11 out, then I think we've got enough for Sheffield Wednesday, and who knows where we're going to end up. But we've got a nice cushion now in the playoffs. I can't see us not making the playoffs, and if we don't, it'll be down to something we don't do or mistakes that we're making. But at the moment, we're not making any. I got a lot of messages last night from people around the area who wanted to let me know that they thought we deserved a win. We're a proper club. There was nothing flash about us, and everybody was talking about the two centre backs and how they dominated the game. And I've got to say, you know, that when you watch the game, and if you watch it back at all, you can see the amount of balls that Taylor and Cooper win, and they're winning them properly as well. You know, they're proper centre halves. The rest of our team can bounce off that, and we did yesterday. And I can only say that it's great to be a Millwall supporter up in this area today, because obviously nobody's going to give me any jip like they did last time. So on to next week at Sheffield Wednesday, and come on, you Lions.
LinkedIn is pretty great at a lot of things, like helping you tap into the latest trends and insights in your field. We cannot stop your coworker from tapping her pencil. LinkedIn can help you find new jobs that align with your career goals. We cannot help you find the source of that weird smell in the office fridge. Ew. And while we can't stop your coworkers from bringing their hobbies into the office, LinkedIn can help you bring your career to the next level. LinkedIn is the network that works for you.
Fantastic, as always, from Jim Hackett there, dear listeners. Yeah, the playoffs. I think we should be mortified if we don't make the playoffs at a minimum this season. I still haven't given up entirely on the top two, as we said earlier on with Jay. I think that there's every opportunity in this season. we've just got to keep on keeping on. We can't afford to drop points. Silly points being dropped will be the thing that holds us back if that's what it comes to. But that one game at a time. Sheffield Wednesday on Saturday. I'm going to go up for that one. And the expectation, rightly or wrongly, is that we're going to come away with all 3 points from Hillsborough. Just going back to Bannon and Negley as a combination, I said to Jay earlier on, I repeat, I think that Bannon especially brings a certain artistry. I mean, Negley's actually got a huge work rate on him, and that's something that I think sometimes gets a little bit lost in the maelstrom of the game. But Barry Bannon alongside him with the work rate, and he's no slouch with the ball himself, Negley. But some of Bannon's play yesterday, some of the touches and some of the imagination that he showed, listeners, is next level. And that's not something we've seen for a long time. I'm trying to think of an equivalent player from the past with that kind of level of vision almost. Most of our midfielders historically, maybe Alex Ray, combined work rate with power and artistry to some degree, but certainly Bannon has the ability to find to thread the needle in the haystack, whatever my metaphor is there, listeners. I think I'm probably mashed a few together there, but you know what I mean. His ability to find, intricate passes and little back heels and flicks is something next level. I can't even think of an equivalent player from the past. So it's going to be a really, really interesting finish to the season. I expect his influence to gain and gain and gain. Jim has mentioned the Kiefer Moore versus Jake, clash of titans. I want to mention Caleb Taylor because he's now working very much as an oppo with Jake, and what a combination they do make, as Jim has just alluded to there. The head-to-head clash between him and Kiefer was worthy of the boxing ring. But fair play to Kiefer Moore. I've said it already. I'll say it again. There was no holds barred. But equally, hands were shaken at the end of the game, and you got to take your hat off to that. None of the rolling around and the feigning injury that I hate. I bet you hate too, dear listeners. If you're listening to this show, you almost certainly hate that aspect of modern football, like me. So a big thank you there to Jim Hackett. Let's go with Lawrence Binney now, listeners.
Hi Nick, it's Lawrence Binney here calling in after Wrexham 0, Millwall 2. What a huge result, eh? A real scrappy, cagey game, I thought. One in which I think we struggled to get going in at times, or struggled to kind of maybe impose ourselves on the game, at least on the ball. Watching Wrexham, I thought they were very kind of classically a Phil Parkinson side. I say that as a compliment, not as a negative. They worked really, really hard off the ball. We found it very difficult to move the ball forward. I think we played it around quite nicely at the back, but yeah, they had it felt like they had an extra man in midfield sometimes, and were very good at snuffing us out. And in that environment, I think we played it really well in the end. Knowing that okay, we're not always going to be able to play stellar attacking football. I think they did quite a good job on Aziz, for example, in the first half at least. And Kramer had a lot more defensive duties, maybe than he's accustomed to usually, and the same goes for Doughty. But I never really felt like we were in much trouble either. I felt throughout the whole game that a draw was the least of what we'd get. Even after we went 1-0 up, and Wrexham probably carved out their best two opportunities of the game, very close to one another. I think it might have been fallen to the same striker, Sam Smith, for them. I just felt like we dealt with it really, really well, without kind of becoming entrenched in our own half. I mean, the subs that we made today, I think made a huge, huge difference. While they didn't give us much territorial dominance, I think actually what they did do was they freshened things up. I just thought especially for the final 10 minutes, Wrexham had nothing really. A really, really professional performance. Another 2-0 win on the road as well. Starting to win games now by more than just the odd goal. And looking at how tight the goal difference is between I think Hull all the way down to Preston. I think there's something like 3 or 4 goals difference between all the sides. That could come in really, really handy if it gets to the final day and we're relying on something like goal difference to stay in the playoffs. But at the moment, I think it's probably time to start looking upwards now. And I think I say that not because I think we can make the automatics. I still think that's a long shot. But I think as a mentality shift, because we're now getting into the phase of the season where we're not really that worried about what other teams are doing below us. And that can lead to either complacency or it can lead to, I think, what Coventry are experiencing at the moment, which is maybe, kind of wobbling, maybe getting a little bit of altitude sickness. So I think just looking at Hull, looking at Ipswich, chasing rather than worrying about who are behind us, I think that really fits into the mentality that this squad should have at the moment. Some on paper winnable games coming up. I mean, on paper, I don't think games against sides who will have less territory than us suit us necessarily. But hey, we have to prove that we're good enough to be in contention. There's no reason why we can't win the next 2 at the very least, Portsmouth and Sheffield Wednesday. Exciting times to be a Millwall fan. For me, man of the match, I think probably man of the month or past 4 weeks, Camille Negley. Just really, really becoming a really crucial part of that midfield. His off the ball work rate is just exceptional. And yeah. Also very pleased with Bannon. I thought he had a very good game. And who can forget Femi Aziz, who again didn't have one of his kind of brighter games, but 2 moments of quality winners a game. Cheers, Nick. Really, really looking forward to Sheffield Wednesday next week. I'll be on a flight to Miami. But I should hopefully have a positive scoreline to look forward to once I touch down, probably about 8 in the evening. But I'll be back for the Birmingham game, hopefully. All right, take care. Bye.
Enjoy Miami, Lawrence. Nice warm place to be going to from the rain and greyness of England. Enjoy, mate. I just wanted to mention what you might call the Alex Neil style, the approach. We want to win games now, listeners. How refreshing is it to not go late into games looking to close out? We were 1-0 ahead yesterday, and once upon a time, and I'm not knocking Gary Rowett, I'm not knocking Neil Harris, but we might have been bringing on defenders to see a game through, mightn't we? And it's a different prospect to have that cushion of a second goal. What a goal it was from the lamppost. Do you like that nickname? I don't like it. And I get there's humour in it, and I understand that Josh Coburn is fine with lamppost. I don't dig it personally, but anyway, that's another matter, and I'm not going to go on about it, even though I'll probably mention it on every show. But just going back to the Alex Neil style, the fact we want to win games, we want to get the ball forwards. It is so refreshing. It is so in keeping with the Millwall mentality, dear listeners. As a support, we do not favour defensive-minded grimness. I can see efficiency. Let's call it that. Defensive-minded efficiency. I think we favour drama. We favour, the kind of big moments. Win or lose. But I think going for it suits and we'll win more than we're going to lose with this approach, in my opinion, with this squad, with this quality of squad. And I just find that Alex Neil has been the catalyst for really connecting with what sounds a bit like I'm a psychological podcast there. I'm on the couch, but I think he's connecting with something within the Millwall psyche that favours forward-facing, attacking football whilst not being silly. I did just on the same subject of playoffs, promotion. I did a little assessment. We're on 53 points at the moment, listeners. 31 games gone, 15 to go, 15 matches left, 53 points. And I did a little assessment of how many points have been required in recent years, last 10 years, how many points needed to achieve the minimum 6th spot for playoff football. And on average, over the last 10 years, 73.5 points, 73.5. So 73 or 74 points is the average amount required. The highest amount required to achieve 6th spot was Fulham, 2016-17, they had 80 points. There's also a low. The low is Bristol City last season, 24-25, made it in sixth spot with 68 points, and then Sunderland in 22-23 with 69. But on average, overall, the average and the median score is 73 to 74 points. And we are 20 points away, but basically 6 to 7 wins short of assuring playoff football. I agree with Lawrence Binney. We've got to be looking upwards. I am not dismissing. I've said it repeatedly on this show. Do not dismiss the automatic spots. It's there to be chased. We are in the position of bringing the pressure to the top sides, Middlesbrough and Coventry, and they're going to be the ones looking over their shoulder, dear listeners. Let's keep winning. Let's keep the pressure on them. And who knows, this could yet be a momentous season in Millwall history. That's going to be enough from me for this particular. So I'm going to be talking to Merv tomorrow, dear listeners, Monday morning with Merv, and we'll be playing the remainder of the voice notes after my conversation with Merv. I want to say a big thank you to Jay Thomas. The 1885 show, mark it on your X feed. Do have a listen to Jay's work. I'm looking forward to hearing more from him. And big thank you to everyone who's contributed to this particular show, voicemail-wise. So until tomorrow's edition, dear listeners, from me, Nick Hart, it's Arrivederci Millwall. Bye for now.
Achtung, Millwall.
Who do you want to watch?